Growing up, I laughed at God. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in Jesus. I didn't believe in Jesus dying on the cross for my sins, because I had many sins. You see, I grew up in a wealthy household on the east side. Very wealthy. Both parents, whatever. They had whatever they wanted. But inside this big house, two-story house, probably over 3,000 square feet, in-ground swimming pool, there was a basement. And inside that basement, which was locked all the time, were 3 boys. And every weekend, the 3 boys would be marched down in their underwear from a Friday night through a Sunday, as the parents were above having their cocktail parties and their drinks. Only then to hear footsteps on a Sunday morning where we had to line up at the top of the stairs by age. I had to use the bathroom. So we would line up. My older brother would go first, and we couldn't turn on the water, we couldn't wash our hands, but we were dehydrated, so we had to make sure we drank. And when we drank out of the toilet. And then we would use the bathroom. Then my middle brother would drink out of the toilet. Then he would use the bathroom. And of course, me being the youngest, I get to go last and did the exact same thing. There were times where we come home from school and sitting there on the floor waiting for us with 3 plastic bowls. And inside those bowls, there was Wonder Bread. And on top of the Wonder Bread, there were scrambled eggs. And on top of the scrambled eggs, there were peas. And we would have to sit on our knees, execution style, and eat out of those bowls while my mom ate her flank steak and my dad was still at work. So you can't tell me that there was a God at that time, that there was a Jesus and that he was around us, near us. There is no way. Going to school, lunchtime was my favorite, only because I got to jump right into the garbage and literally pull out brown bags of half-eaten peanut butter jelly sandwiches, bologna sandwiches, fruit. That was the best. I got teased for it, but it was okay because I got to eat. That was my heaven. From military school, all the way up probably to about freshman year in college, I was still alone. Still didn't believe in God. Didn't really want to believe in God. Didn't really care. Until I got to college. And I was at a party with 2 drinks in my hand. And this little girl, woman, with big hair came up to me. And she touched my hair and said, "You have theater hair." And I was like, "Girl, you need to disappear because I got my 2 drinks. I don't have time for you." So she left. She came back an hour later and she said, "I want to tell you something. God told me that I'm going to marry you." I'm like, "What?" "Goodbye. This girl's crazy. You Bible banger, little big hair girl. Goodbye." Not knowing that this beautiful little girl with big hair was soon going to be my wife. But you see, my wife, before she was my wife, really brought me back into knowing about the true daddy. The true daddy that everybody yearns and craves for. The true daddy who now I realize, thanks to my wife and really listening to the Holy Spirit, was there the whole time when I was just crying out to be heard, to be loved. The same lady who just told me, "You're going to be okay," and just talked to him. The same beautiful lady who just said, "We're going to do this together. We're going to live your story together." So after Kathy and I were married, we went to a Lutheran church, and we were there for about 8 years. And during that whole 8 years, it was the same Sunday routine. 11 o'clock, bring the kids in, drop them off into Sunday school, sit in the back row, stand up, sit down, and we realized it was a dead church. That the Holy Spirit was not in that church. And we knew it. because we were like the youngest couple anyway. Most of them were, 30 years plus. And we were hungry. We were thirsting for something. And if it wasn't for Kathy's brother recommending a church, and he recommended Grace Christian Church that used to be in a HQ. I'm like, HQ? Wait a minute, I used to shop there, I think. Cool, this is different. We'll give it a shot. And we went. We went the first time. And as soon as you walked in, I remember seeing the cafe and thinking, coffee at a church, a cafe, food? What? They don't do that in Catholic or Lutheran churches, do they? And it was great. It was coming here and just feeling the Holy Spirit. And I remember Pastor Jerry, meeting him for the first time, and he put his hand on my shoulder. It was almost like a flesh father. I remember that touch, that thank you for coming, hope to see you again. Now it's not about my mom and dad anymore and about what I went through. It's about the now. It's about my children, my wife, right? Basically my family. And of course, putting him first. I think that's, to me, is the number one thing in my life right now, is truly forgiving my mom and dad for everything that's happened, not only to me, but to my brothers. Even though they have yet to forgive, I have forgiven. I have moved on. I look at my kids every single day. I tell them every single day, I love you. I still kiss my sons as much as they go, ew, gross. Guess what? Mwah, you're going to get it for as long as I am here because you deserve it. And you're going to get it. I'm always going to be there for you. But we're going to put him first, our true daddy. We're going to put him first. And when you put him first, the whole world is yours to have. Period.